What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Countdown Scouting Network. I'm your host, Joey Garcia, and today we are breaking down the 2024 interior defensive line for this draft class. So we've got 22 guys. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'll try to be quicker than I was for the edge rushers. So we got Gabe Hall from Baylor. He's a big body, 290 pounds probably, but super explosive and strong at the point of attack for a guy that's sub 300 pounds. But he's super explosive. I think he's more of a pass rusher in the interior. I think he probably is. I don't know if he's a 3-4 defensive end. That's probably the best case scenario for him. If not, he's probably a 3 technique in a 4-3 defense. I don't think he can go down to a 1 unless it's on passing plays, but he does a good job holding the point of attack, and he's very strong. And I think his best thing is his true bull rush at the 3 technique. Let's go to Miles Murphy from North Carolina, and he's 6'4", 210 is what he weighs in at. This is one who, again, is just a solid. I'll put Tim Smith in here as well. Just a super solid defensive lineman, someone that's probably just going to play in the 1 technique, but he holds the point of attack, and it's exactly what you want from a nose guard. He's probably slightly undersized for a true 0 technique in a 3-4 defense, but he's someone that can hold the point of attack, and he does a good job shedding to get off these guys and guard both A gaps. Tim Smith is another guy, kind of just does the same thing. So they're both adequate guys. I think these are day 3 guys that can get rotation at that nose guard spot. It's a very, very deep defensive line class here, especially when it comes to pass rushers from this spot. So we'll get into some of those here shortly. Let me pull up Stackhouse. If I can find them on my list. Okay. Yeah, I don't have Stackhouse on my list here anymore, so I apologize. I'm guessing he probably went back. So let's get to a fun guy, one that it took me a little while to see anything about him, just because I don't have Northern Iowa tape. So, oh God, where is he? There he is. All right, Christian Boyd. So he is 6'4", 317 pounds is what he's listed as. I think he's probably a little bit lighter than that, but it doesn't really matter. He is someone who you can line up really in the A gap, in the B gap, C gap, anywhere from a 0 tech probably out to a 4. And he just dominated this level. Ask him to rush the passer. He was elite at rushing the passer. Run defense, he wreaked havoc on what I watched. And I mean, yeah, I didn't get to watch everything. I got to watch mostly highlights. So that's kind of why I have him down this low. Is one, the level of play, and 2, I didn't get to watch really full games. I got to watch 1 full game, and that was about it. So I have him down here, but he's a very exciting prospect. I don't know where he gets drafted, but he was someone I had to put in here just because I am really, really in love with his game. So let's go to one of my favorite guys, Fabian Lovett. He doesn't get much love because of the other Florida State defensive linemen that they have out here with Braden Fisk. But with Fabian Lovett, he is just a constant, I don't want to say disruptor, but he's always there around the ball. He's not in the backfield blowing up plays or anything like that, but you never see him getting double teamed into linebackers. He's always doing his job, and as someone that can play in the 1 as really anywhere, I would say he can be 3 technique to 1. I don't want to put him as a 0 tech. I probably don't want to put him outside too far where he's over top of guards or anything like that. But from a 1 to a 3, he can play anywhere on that interior offensive line, or excuse me, interior defensive line, and he's just very constant. He's a constant do your job player. So he's going to be a day 3 guy. He reminds me of Devon Godshaw from LSU, where I think he was a 5th or a 6th round pick, but he was just constantly doing his job in the run game. And in the passing game, he's not really there in the pass game, to be honest. But in the run game, he does his job. All right, let's get to these two LSU guys. So we got Mekhi Wingo here, who is he's a little shorter than I thought he was going to be whenever he came out, and it's a little bit concerning. He's like 6 foot and a half, 290 pounds. So he's someone who's probably only he's got the smaller size, and so I would think he's gonna play as a 2-eye to a 4-eye somewhere in there, but with his shorter arms and his shorter stature, it's someone where it's like, can he put on another 8 to 10 pounds, go from 290 to 300 pounds, and be a nice zero tech? I really don't know if he can, but he's very explosive, is the positive with him. So he's someone I draft in day 3 and just hope that I'm wrong about his size and his arm length being a factor, and because he's super explosive. And if he gets off the ball and gets into the guy's chest, he's strong enough where he can get into someone's chest and rip off really quickly. But on the times that they get to his chest first, he loses. He's not great with that. And then you got Mason Smith, who isn't even he's not as consistent, but I think he's got really high upside. He's super explosive. He's 6'6", 320 pounds, extremely explosive, has really long arms. He's very fluid with that kind of body type. He's someone who I think can play along the entire defensive line. You could probably even push him out to a 4, put him over top of guards. I think he's comfortable doing that. It's just the consistency. I don't see consistency with him. So I think if you can get him to be more consistent, I really, really like this player a lot. But yeah, I just don't really see the consistency with him. So that's my big takeaway with the LSU guys. It's just Mekhi Wingo is consistent. He's explosive. I'm just very worried about his size. Mason Smith has all the size, the explosiveness, and the fluidity that you really want with that size. That would say, oh my God, this is a first-round defensive tackle. And then you look at his tape, and sometimes he's just nowhere to be seen. Let's go to McKinley Jackson from Texas A&M. This is a true nose guard. He's going to play the 1-0 technique. He's going to play in the A gaps, or he's going to play over top of the center. And he's very, very good in the run game. He can do a little bit in the pass game, but this guy is mostly a true nose guard. I think he's probably a 4th-round pick. And he's just going to get the job done. He's not going to do anything flashy, but you're not running up the middle with McKinley Jackson there. Howard Cross is from Notre Dame. Yeah, I don't freak. All right, I left him off my list as well. But Howard Cross from Notre Dame is a guy who, man, he's just super. I don't want to say super explosive. That's kind of not true. But he's got enough explosiveness. He's more of an IQ player, though. He's got good explosiveness. He's got good hand placement. He almost knows where the ball is going as well. So I think his IQ, he's got good enough size. I think his IQ is really going to take him to that next level. Plays the run fairly well. The pass game, yeah, he's okay in the pass game as well. But I think he's a true all-around player that's got the instincts that you look for in a defensive lineman to really get him to that next step. Dwayne Carter. Dwayne Carter is a very, very interesting prospect. Hearing his name, before I got to watch his tape, hearing his name, I always thought he was a little bit smaller of a guy. And I don't know why, if it's just the name or not, but I started watching him, and I'm like, dang, this is a big boy. He moves very well for a big boy. And I looked, he's 6'3", 305 pounds, and he's just very adequate in both run and pass game. So it's a true. I'll even put I'll put Tyler Davis in here. I'll put Justin Ebogbe in there from Alabama, and I'll put Dwayne Carter. These are three guys that are really, really good in the pass game and run game. Tyler Davis is someone who's kind of like Dwayne Carter, where they're going to use their smarts and physicality on the interior to really support on running and passing. Justin Ebogbe from Alabama, they had him listed as an edge rusher. I kind of see him moving inside a little bit more, putting a little bit of weight on, and playing somewhere between somewhere between a 5 technique to a 3 tech. I don't think he's going to move a little bit inside there, but he's got a good pass rush plan where he's strong enough in the run. I think Ebogbe can be a very good interior pass rusher if he just puts a little bit more weight on so he doesn't get bullied in the run game. But I really like if you move him inside. I don't think he can really play as an edge rusher like everyone else does. Leonard Taylor III from Miami is probably the most disappointing tape that I got to watch. He is a beast. He's everything that you want in a rusher. Let me pull up his measurables though, but he is just everything that you want is in an explosiveness trait and an athleticism, and he just doesn't really show up all the time. There are drives where he takes over the entire defensive drive where the offense can't do anything. He's running down guys from behind. He's sacking the quarterback. There's sometimes where during read options, he's able to get in there and kind of freeze the quarterback where he doesn't know what to do and get there before the handoff's even given. But then there are just other parts where it's just you don't see him. They're running towards his way, and he's kind of getting buried. He's not getting blocked, but he's not really doing anything, and it's just very questionable. I think he's got all the talent in the world where he can be, I don't want to say an Aaron Donald type because that's a one in a million type, but he's a guy who can be an extreme disruptor from the interior, and he could be Christian Wilkins is really what it is. He could be like Christian Wilkins who came out of Clemson, and I don't know. He just was very, very disappointing, I felt like. Let's go to Michael Hall. Michael Hall is an explosive, disruptive, pass rushing defensive tackle. I think he's fine in the run game. He's about 285 pounds, so he's not going to play inside too much. He's probably a 3-4 defensive end type, but this guy's very, very aggressive and explosive and can disrupt the pass. So he's an interior pass rusher. That's really what he is, and that's what he does well. He holds up fine in the run, but that's not his specialty. His specialty is get after the pass. Let's go to Michigan's guy now with Chris Jenkins. Chris Jenkins is, stupid power rusher right here. He holds up the point of attack, but other than that, he's not someone who's going to do anything except just basically walk. I've seen him walk guards back into the quarterback's lap. So he's super exciting just because he's got the size, he's got the strength, where he's going to be able to hold up in the run game and the pass game. So as a pass rusher, he's not going to put up a bunch of sacks, but he's going to create a little bit of pressure, interior pressure, and get quarterbacks uncomfortable, which you love to see that. That's something that you really, really love to see. So is he going to get a bunch of sacks? No, but he's going to disrupt the passing game. That's what I mean by disrupt the passing game. Let's go to Brandon Dorlus from Oregon. We have him right here. He is, again, another one of these guys who I don't see him playing too far inside. It's kind of what we saw with Michael Hall, where he's going to be playing as that 3 technique. But I think I like Michael Hall. I think he's a pass rushing defensive end in a 3-4 defense. I think Brandon Dorlus is better than that. So everything that I said about Michael Hall, Brandon Dorlus does that probably 2 times over. That's how good I really like him. We'll try to speed this up a little bit. Rook Ororo from Clemson is someone who I don't think he's even hit his peak yet, to be honest with you. As the year went on, he was better and better Um, he's someone who probably can play anywhere on the defensive line. And he's scheme versatile too. I feel like I think he can play in a 4-3. He can play the 1. He can play the 3. I think in a 3-4 he can play, anywhere from a 5 in. And he's good as a um, he's good as a run stuffer. He holds his point of attack very, very well. And I think he's someone that's going to develop a little bit more in the pass rush game as well. But I think worst case scenario, this is a really good, versatile defensive lineman that holds up in the run. All right, let's get to Tavondre Sweat. We've talked about him before from Texas. This is a guy who is purely a nose guard. He's going to play the 1 or the 0, but he is, I mean, I don't really know what his weight is. They've moved it so much where they have it listed as anywhere between 380 pounds to 340 pounds, but he is extremely explosive. I'm worried about his weight for him to be a 60% snap taker. With his weight, he might be something like a 40% snap taker, but in those 40%, he's going to go 100%. He's going to be disruptive as hell. You cannot run it inside where he is. And also, if you're thinking about passing the ball, you better roll out because he's someone that's going to push the pocket up into the quarterback's lap. The one thing I really don't like about him is I don't know if he can control his weight. And if he can't control his weight, he can't get constant playing time, and that's going to be an issue. All right, let's show these last 3 guys. We got Braden Fisk from FSU. He's been rising up draft boards, and I love it. I love him rising up draft boards because he is just an instinctual player. He's not the most explosive, but he uses his IQ. He uses his pass rush hands. His hands are really good. He uses all that stuff, his power, his motor, his want to, and he gets into the backfield. He disrupts in the run game and the pass game. This is a guy who, he might be able to be anywhere on the interior defensive line as well. He could be a 3 technique. He can be down to a 1. But he's going to be a disruptor. He really is. He's someone who is going to be getting constant pressure in the backfield. I think he can play 70-80% of your snaps as well. I think on third downs he'll be okay. In the run game is where he's going to really thrive, especially if they're trying to run opposite side. He's going to chase it down from behind. Jerzon Newton and Byron Murphy. Let's put these 2 together. Jerzon Newton, super, super explosive athlete. We loved him coming out. He was in our top 5 in summer scouting, but he's got a little bit of size limitation to him. I feel like where he probably can't play on the interior inside of the guard. He's probably someone that's going to be playing as a 3 tech, or honestly, he can move out to a 4. I think too. I think he's versatile enough for that. But he's someone who is mostly going to be a pass rush guy. He holds up well in the run game. I don't want to say he doesn't hold up well in the run game, but he's mostly going to be known as a 3 technique pass rush specialist. And then you got Byron Murphy, who is I thought Jerzon Newton was a great athlete. Byron Murphy is just stupid athletic. He's got good enough arm length, even though he's smaller. I think he's about 6'1", but he's got really, really good arm length, and he's versatile, as in he can play anywhere on the defensive line. And I think probably his best thing is power rushing, but he's got great finesse rushing, and he's got a good pass rush plan as well, where it's really hard to come up with different moves in the interior other than just power and then ripping and swimming. He comes up and he makes these stupid combination pass rush plans where you never think it would work, where he dips, rips, spins, and then swims back over top the way that he just spun away from. And it's just stupid the way he can move at, I think he's 310 pounds, 315 pounds. I know I said, who did I say was, what? I said someone, Chris Jenkins maybe. I said someone was Christian Wilkins. I think Byron Murphy is really Christian Wilkins. I think that is Christian Wilkins of this draft class, and I think he's a top 10 pick. I love that guy a lot. So I appreciate you guys watching this. If you did enjoy, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. I know the beginning was a little a little bit slow. I couldn't find the guys on my sheet. I apologize for that. But if there's any guys that aren't on here that you guys want to talk about, go ahead and leave them down in the comment section below. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.